Welcome to Bird Dog Politics and BDP. Here's my $1 million idea to save America. We know that young men are having a tougher and tougher time than ever. They're still working hard, just like always, but the paychecks aren't matching the bills. And so at our worst, we criticize them, say they live in mom's basement, say they failed to launch. I don't think that's their fault. I think this country has gone farther and farther away from some of its ideals. Wealth inequality is worse than it's ever been. And so even the hardworking kids that I know, the young guys that I know, are struggling. And they're getting disconnected because you would think that a young man would be proud to ask a lady to go on a date. But if he doesn't have a home, if he's still with his parents, if he doesn't have a reliable vehicle, if he doesn't have some of the things that we typically think a young man would have because of wealth inequality, then of course things are going to be tougher. Young men are going to be angrier. And so what do? Well, podcasts are free. And sit around and listen to those once you pay for the phone or the internet or whatever you already paid for. But it's not a ticket to go out somewhere. It's not football game tickets or concert tickets or trips to Vegas. These young guys just don't have money because the paychecks aren't keeping up with the bills. And I know this because I'm an old guy whose paycheck isn't keeping up with the bills. After teaching for almost 2 decades, I thought the Roth IRA would be a lot stronger than it is. I thought the credit card balances would be zero. In President Trump's first term, they were. I had no credit card debt, and I was maxing out my Roth IRA contribution. Nowadays, I have one maxed out credit card, another getting way too close, and I don't even contribute to my Roth IRA. I take from it more often than not. And that's a real thing. That's not a mystery. That's not... Every time you see one of those headlines, 60% of Americans cannot meet their basic needs. We are struggling. It needs to be the top priority. I can't change that part of it. But my $1 million idea ends some of the isolation that worries me. So it works like this. It's called Hygge House Party. And Hygge is that European term for being together, and that being a lot, comfort. And I always want my home to be a welcoming place for all my friends. So it works like this. My son has the ring and hook game, where you send the ring and try to get it on the hook, and you move the little marker from side to side. So Hygge House Party comes with 8 copies of that game. Already pre-built. We don't need little old ladies constructing hook and ring games. I know it'll make the shipping more difficult. So be it. 8 copies of the hook and ring game. My son also has the sticky tic-tac-toe board that you throw the ping pong balls at. His is Dude Perfect labeled. Could call it Dude Perfect. We like that. But I do 8 copies of that as well. So 8 copies of hook and ring, 8 copies of tic-tac-toe pong. 4 copies of Bop It. Bop it. Twist it. Pull it. Those are a little more expensive. We'll only do 4. And then 1 copy of Apples to Apples, but we rebrand it. We call it the Hygge House Party version, and I get to choose the categories and stuff. That'd be fun. Maybe we add some social emotional learning type of thing in there. So 8 copies of hook and ring, 8 copies of beer pong, 4 copies of Bop It, 1 copy of Apples to Apples. A great big whiteboard bracket, 16 seated bracket, whiteboard marker, and the squishies that everyone loves? Make this big, ugly, squishy golden cup. Hygge House Party Champion. And so you put this all in a great big kit, and then you find community partners. So churches, libraries, 100 plus women who care. And they all agree to purchase this bulk product, with the understanding that they have volunteers. And so the church secretary and the choir director and the pastor's wife all find young men in town. Or if the library orders the house party, then the head librarian and the assistant librarian and all the members of the library board find a young man in the community who seems alone. Maybe it's your nephew, maybe it's the guy down the street. And we say, we are having a Hygge house party. And so 16 people, mostly young men, maybe some young women, maybe some middle-aged, whoever. We try to bring these people together. And they say, I went to an in-service on mental health and social media and all those things affecting our students. And they say the things you need to avoid loneliness would be human interaction and common purpose. And I think this meets that. I think this is a great idea. So we invite young men to the library or to a church or somewhere. I mean, hell, if you want to buy your own and you think that your community needs this, then let her rip. But we bring young people together. And it could start with me if I become a big star and I have an opening event. I think that live TV still has an important role. That is another shared experience. We all come around for the Super Bowl. I think that's valuable to the United States. We still need to have these cultural moments. And I still think TV does it. But YouTube, if I went live on YouTube, or a bigger star than me, or I meet a bigger star than me, that would be all right. Elias from Nonpoint, or Brad Holmes the villain, or Robert Reich. So we have this first moment with Bird Dog, and Bird Dog throws a Hygge house party. And then after I do my spiel on YouTube, then you play these silly games. Beer pong, tic-tac-toe, and hook and ladder game, and bop it. And you go against people for the chance to hold a floppy, squishy, golden cup Hygge house party trophy. Who cares if you win it? Who cares if you lose it? I'm not the most competitive person. Never really have been. I was the 8th man on a very good basketball team. My high school football team played in the state championship against Muskegon Catholic Central with Tony Ferguson, the UFC fighter. We lost. But I was there. I was a senior and I played alto horn in the band. I'm not the most competitive, but when I talk to my students, 4th grade social studies, we say, we got to divide labor, we got to specialize, and we need to be able to rely on each other. When I wake up in the morning, it's no big deal to go out to the greenhouse and grab 2 duck eggs to make my own breakfast. That part's fine. But if I have to sew my own shirt, if I have to build my own car, if I have to program my own computer, I'll never get anything done. We'd be back in the Stone Ages where every person does all the jobs for themselves. We need to be in a community. Humans are mammals, and mammals live in communities and do better that way. We can't be so isolationist. We can't be pull yourself up by the bootstraps. That's not working. The evidence is there. It's obvious. And people are more upset than ever. So, that's my $1 million idea. Take it if you'd like. If you're a shady mofo, steal my idea. Just make it happen. Let's bring people together in a way that's free, in a way that's fun, in a way that builds human interaction. Because we cannot afford for these young men to get angrier and angrier and angrier because they have less and less and less than their grandparents did. If you work hard, you deserve to live in a home, drive a vehicle, feed your family, just like Homer Simpson did. If that idiot can do it and Marge doesn't have to go to work, we should be able to expect something similar. I know that show got started a long time ago. It's almost as old as me, I think. And so it reflects back to a pre-Reagan era, before stock buybacks were made legal, before the top tax rate was slashed from 70% to 28%. Those things caused a great amount of wealth inequality. Those things caused a great amount of anger and resentment, and we're seeing violence now. Minnesota state legislators being shot, an insurance company CEO being shot, politicians and the rich. It's not just limited to grocery stores and movie theaters anymore. And so I hope leaders are taking it seriously. I sincerely hope that they start taking this problem seriously. And the reason for the problem is the hopelessness. We have not been rewarded for our work. Not the way that we used to. And you can argue all you want. You can deflect all you want. But the people can tell. The people can tell that the American dream's getting farther and farther away. And so I can't change that part, but I can build community. And that is what Bird Dog Politics is all about.